Hard sports all plays. Yeah. Hard sports all plays. Hard sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're out in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. Hard sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Hard sports all plays. Yeah.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room, Friday, June 23rd, 2023. Been a good day. Been a real good day. But I'm Chris Gonzo'S, joined by Tony Gonzo'S, also joined by Jay McLevin. But Cincinnati Reds kept the train rolling tonight. It didn't look good at the start. Got off to a rough start. They kept it rolling. 12-game winning streak now. First time since like 1940 that they've won 12 games in a row. But man, it was ugly. Got down 5-0, gave up 5 runs in the first inning on 5 hits. But then after that, third inning, Reds got a couple runs, made it 5-2. By the time the 5th inning came around, they were ahead in the game. Tied it up 5-5, took the lead 7-5. Or no, tied it 5-5.
You didn't watch the game, or you just reading off the box score? It sounds like you're reading off a box score. What kind of Reds fan are you? I don't think you're a real Reds fan. Tony, I'm questioning Gonzo's fandom. I don't.
But like I was saying, the 5th inning game was tied 5-5. Then the Braves took the lead 7-5, and then the Reds scored 4 runs, take the lead 9-7. Ended up being up 11-7, but he still didn't realize he was muted. But anyway,
my whole life is on mute. What are you talking about, man?
No, seriously, man. I'm excited that we won and we're up and we kept the 12-game winning streak. But what really made me more happy about this game was that you give up 5 runs in the first inning like that. The pitcher couldn't throw any. I mean, he was just throwing everything right down the middle. His location was terrible. It would be easy for a team just to put their heads down, mail it in, and say, "Oh, today's not our day." And especially for a young team that don't have a whole lot of experience. So, the thing I took away from the game that I really like, and they've been doing this all season because they have like 28 comeback wins. They don't give up. It don't matter, and it don't matter how far they get down. They keep battling. And that's something I really like about this young team that the Reds have because, hey, we've seen it. I know you've seen it. Teams get down 5-0, they'll hang their heads, and the ball game's over.
Right.
They didn't do that, and they battled back. Dele Cruz is the man. That dude is electric to watch. Hit for the cycle tonight. First time a Reds player's hit for the cycle since 1989 when Eric Davis done it. And I mean, he was pounding the ball. Joey Votto hit 2 home runs tonight. That's 3 home runs in his first week back. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome to watch. It was a fun game to watch. Crazy game tonight. And I look for tomorrow. Could be a lot of the same because you have 2 high power offenses and neither team has their best pitchers pitching tomorrow either. The way the series lined up.
Right.
So we might see another barn burner slugfest tomorrow as well. So it I don't know how much of the game you watched, but man, if people say baseball is boring, watch that game because there wasn't nothing boring about that game.
Yeah, I was kind of in between games. I was in between your game and then the Yankees and Rangers. I was really hoping the Yankees would have pulled that game out today, but it just didn't happen for them. And the Rangers took it, man. And if the Astros don't get tonight, we're going to lose another game off on them on the lead. Of course, we're in the wild card, but I really like to gain some ground on the Rangers, and I just don't know if that's going to happen. At least not right now with the way they're playing. It's crazy. But you guys are playing, just outstanding baseball yourself. I think you said what? This 12-game win streak you got goes back to what, 1974 or 64 or something like that?
1940.
Or 1940. You're right. I do remember saying that, 1940. That's a long time.
The 11-game win streak was like 1966. Now this one goes back to like 1940.
Wow. Man, the only one that was allowed to witness that was Tony when he was born.
Yeah, I was born in 63, buddy.
But no, man.
Wow. So you were there, though, before the 66 11-game win streak.
Yep. I got an update for you. Dodgers 3, Astros 2 at the end of 5.
Nobody cares, Chris.
Chris didn't even say nothing, damn it.
I mean, Tony. See, I'm so used to talking to Chris. Everything is just Chris. Even if you're Tony, your name is Chris. You're like Chris 1, Chris 2. I don't care. You're Chris.
Dustin says Ellie is a freak of nature. Reds are legit.
And
we'll win the Central.
It's too early to say that stuff.
Glenn Richardson, Ellie is the second coming of Mr. Red Eric Davis. I think he's going to be better than Eric Davis. I really do.
If he stays healthy.
If he can stay healthy, I think he'll be better than Eric Davis. But and
we're so quick to dismiss, former great players. Nothing against him. I mean, he's going to be a good player. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, we're so quick to dismiss the greats.
Well, I'll be honest. Eric Davis was a good ball player, but I don't know if I'd put him up there as great.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think of great Reds,
Pete, obviously.
He's not at the top of my list of when I think of great Reds. But now, don't get me wrong, he was a real good player. But I think Dela Cruz has a chance, if he can stay healthy, to be great.
Who was better, Davis or Larkin?
I would have Larkin.
I think overall career, I think Larkin.
I would have Barry Larkin as better than Eric Davis, a little bit better than Eric Davis. But Barry Larkin was also one of my favorite players growing up as a kid as well. But I was a Davis fan too. So, I mean, that team in the 90s. I mean, I was 10 or 11 years old. So that was right when I was really getting into being a fan.
I remember
full time.
Glenn's talking about Crosley Field. I remember Crosley Field. I'd never seen a game there. Matter of fact, I think the first year Kings Island opened, we was on our way to Kings Island, and we went by the old Crosley Field. They were tearing it down, and Riverfront had opened, which I got to go to Riverfront when it opened.
Got Rob Scott in here, Dylan Beeks in here. We appreciate the support, guys. I was about 2 at the time. He's talking about the win streak. Dustin says, Jay, I watch a ton of baseball. De La Cruz, legit best prospect since Mike Trout.
I'm not saying he's not legit. I'm just trying to say before we start putting him in some categories, let's give the man some time to play the game before we just start jumping on all-time great. He's only been in the league not even a full, not even up to the All-Star break, and we're already crowning this guy like the next Mike Trout. Really? Come on now. Come on. I like a guy as much as anybody else, but that's like me saying, "Yo, Dubon, dude, you're hitting 300. You're the next Jose Altuve."
He's got all the tools, but yeah, give him time to.
I just need time. I need time before we crown people. I think we crown too early in this society.
I don't know. That's what I was saying. If he stays healthy, I think he has a chance to be great. But I'm not saying he's a great yet. I think. But if you look at him as a prospect, he has the ability to. But you got to keep putting it together.
Well, honestly, right now, that McClain.
McClain's looking good.
McClain's.
I think McClain is looking good. He is looking real good.
So I mean,
Spencer Steer.
That's the thing that's weird is that they've got so many young players. They have one rookie playing good, but they got like 5 rookies playing really good. And that's unusual.
And this is something I think people kind of forget. And I mean, I think we just kind of take for granted. Yeah, you got, because like I think the same way is it's kind of weird. You got all these rookies playing at the same time together, but a lot of these guys have been playing together for 4 or 5 years in the minor leagues.
Some of them have, yeah.
So they've came up together, they've grew together. They know, what I mean, they know each other well, and I think that's something that helped because a lot of these guys have been together for a few years. It's not like this is their first time playing together as a team, even though it's their first time playing together as a team in the big leagues. But I mean, they have that experience, and that chemistry, and I think that chemistry is carried over up to the big league between them players.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you. And like I said, I think De La Cruz is a very good player. Honestly, I think, and I do think his future is going to be a bright one if he stays healthy and continues to go down the road he's going. I think he has a bright future ahead of him. I mean, people are making a lot about De La Cruz, but hell, last time I checked, Jeremy Pena rookie season gets World Series MVP. Well, he got 2 MVPs. I think he got league MVP and he got World Series MVP. But you don't see me out here saying Pena's the next, Derek Jeter or something. You got to put time in there, man. You got to wait to see if he cools off. Things like that. Let's just give it some time before we start crowning people the next this or the next that. Damn. Reds get 1 damn win streak and sons of a bitch, all the hell breaks loose.
You're just butthurt because the Astros aren't in first like they were last year.
Oh, I'm very butthurt. Don't get twisted. Hey, listen. Hey, one thing about me, Jay's realistic, and Jay will tell you. Yeah, I'm very butthurt.
Believe me, I'm staying realistic. Yeah. Hey, because
bro, listen. Right now, I got a maxi pad 3/4 thick. Right now,
I'm staying realistic because believe me, I'm excited about the Reds, but I also know it's still early in the season.
And somebody, I mean, it was kind of an asshole, and some people got mad because what the guy said. But in a way, I mean, the way he said, "Oh, I don't know why everybody's getting excited about. That you ain't got no ace pitcher in this, and just kind of being a downer on the team and let people be excited. That's fine. But the truth is, this type of baseball during the season and playoff baseball is 2 different things. And I don't know. I mean, they could. Don't get me wrong. There's been times teams just get hot. It's awful early to be this hot right now and to be able to, go all the way to the series. But if a team gets hot at the right time, you don't always have to be the best team to win the World Series. It's happened many times. And
I agree. And Rob Scott, you're right, man. Damn, I will let Chris live. Jeez, the guy hangs out with Ice Cube for 10 minutes and he already starts criticizing me.
Ice T. Hey, by the way, he said Ice T. It was Ice Cube.
Oh, I thought he said
Ice T.
No, I said Ice Cube.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Ice T. Okay,
Ice Cube, 10 minutes. You already criticizing me. By the way, on a real note, if you have not caught the interview Rob Scott and Mike Hughes did with Ice Cube, it is phenomenal. Great job. These guys killed it, knocked out the ballpark. Much love, man. Congratulations on the first of hopefully many, many milestones in y'all's career, man.
Yeah, big shout out, Robert Scott. Yeah, big time, man.
Oh yeah,
great.
No, it was real. I listened to it. It was real good, or watched it. It was real good.
Awesome.
You can find him at the ASAP Sports Network, yes. Facebook, YouTube, probably Twitch, Twitter, and all that as well. And that's
I will say this though: those guys need to get a ring light. It was a little dark in that room. Y'all need a ring light.
But that is one thing that I think people don't realize because with these players coming from overseas, it can be kind of like basketball where some of these players are playing professionally before they get to the United States as well.
Yeah, honestly, man, good day of baseball all around, man. Even the Mariners, holy crap, the Mariners have just been on this torrid pace of at least the last couple of games, I should say. They took out the last game. They was like, 13-4 or something like that. And tonight they took on the Baltimore Orioles. And they took them out like 13-1. I think it was the Yankees that they took out. But, I mean, the Mariners, I mean, could this be a team that maybe tries to make a push for, at the very least, a wild card berth?
yesterday was the Yankees that they took out. Today was the Orioles.
Yep. The Rangers took out the Yankees.
Yep. But yeah, and it's kind of weird because the Mariners had been struggling. They'd been struggling, but here the last couple of games they've been hitting the ball. Yeah, he said they did have a ring light.
Hey, but seriously, if you have not caught that interview, go catch it, man. They did a hell of a good job. Hell of a good job.
Outstanding.
But yeah, man. What do you think about this? I mean, do you think the Mariners could make a push, or is that just a couple of just lucky games that fell their way?
They've got the pitching staff, I think. If they just start hitting the ball, they weren't hitting the ball real well earlier in the season.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Because I'll be honest with you, I've been a little disappointed in them because at the start of last season, toward the end of last season and going into the playoffs, they were really showing some promise. You know what I mean? And then to start out this season, I thought they would start the season out better this year than what they were last year. But their pitching has been still good. They got a 3.85 team ERA. So it hasn't been their pitching, but the biggest problem with them has been they're only hitting 227 as a team.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I mean, and especially this year because, I mean, batting averages are up. So when you're hitting below 230, it can hurt you.
Let me ask you guys a question. Tampa has just come out playing really hot baseball. So has the Rangers come out, playing really good baseball. Now you guys obviously are playing really outstanding baseball. The Atlanta Braves, at one point the Atlanta Braves and Houston Astros actually had the same record. And that wasn't even that long ago that they had the same record. I think it was right before the Astros won on that stupid 5-game losing streak. But my question, but now the Braves are heating back up, and today you saw really good baseball, or at least you saw really good offensive baseball on both sides of the plate for both teams. My question is this: do you see? Either before the All-Star break or do you see after the All-Star break? Do you see either Tampa or the Rangers cooling off? Or do you think that this will continue all the way up until October?
I mean, I think you might see them go on a little bit of a losing streak, but I don't think you're going to see, if they stay healthy, I don't think you're going to see them like fall off a lot. Right. I think both teams have proven that they're for real, especially the Rays. I mean, the Rangers as well, but just the way the Rays started the season, and they still have only lost, I think, like 9 games at home. Yeah, they're 32-9 at home.
That's
right.
Well, they won 53
games. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, it's crazy the way both of those teams are playing. Is the amount of heat that's.
They're 33-9 at home now because they won today. So
right, that is right. They are. It's incredible that both of these teams in their respective divisions, are playing good baseball, and they're in tough divisions because the Astros are right behind them. Of course, we're about 5 or 6 games back. I think Toronto is a little bit closer, maybe, to Tampa. I haven't looked at the standings, so I don't know exactly how close Toronto specifically. And actually, not Toronto. Excuse me, Baltimore. Speaking of Baltimore, I know Baltimore is pretty close to where Tampa is.
Yeah, they're 5 back, and you guys right now, of course, you're playing. You guys are 6 back.
So we're right about the same kind of where Baltimore. I really, unless, like Gonzo said, unless something crazy happens. I mean, we do play a 4-game homestand against the Rangers right before we go into the All-Star break. So that will be one big time period, and then I think we play the Rangers one more time after the All-Star break. So we do have, I guess, 2 opportunities to get the division, but honestly, Gonzo, the way the Astros are playing right now, and the way the Rangers are playing right now, and then when you take injuries into consideration, we're not having Alvarez back for I think 3 more weeks, so I don't expect him to be back after the All-Star break. I think the Astros' best chance to get in the playoffs at this point really is probably through the wild card. I don't know, unless you guys cool off. I don't think the Reds will relinquish that either. I think you guys got a pretty good thing going out there in your division. I don't see the Brewers or the Cubs or
Brewers got that experience.
Yeah.
But
the thing that's going to help us and some of the people I think forget is we got a lot of guys on the IL as well, yes. And especially pitchers. So our pitching staff could get a little bit better once we get. Especially we get a couple of our starters back. I mean,
get one back tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't have it. Yeah, so we get a couple of our starters back. That's really going to help. I think that'll help, especially Green, because he was pitching. He was really starting to find his groove, and then had to get put on the IL with that hip, which they said isn't serious, which is great. So yeah, I think we'll, like I said, we just got. And even with the Astros, I mean, any team now, once you get in this part of the season, you got to start. You got to try to avoid those 9 game losing streaks. You know what I mean? You can't.
Absolutely.
Big long losing
I
streaks.
agree with you.
Jay, let me ask you this question. You too, Chris. I mean, do you think the Yankees could be in trouble? They're 41-35, but the reason I say this because their division is so tough. But behind them, you got the Blue Jays, 41-36, and then you got the Red Sox 40-37. And the concern is the Yankees are 10.5 back of the Rays. They've got the Orioles ahead of them by 6 games. It's going to be very tough. I mean, will they make the playoffs? I mean, I know it's early. We're almost a halfway point, but
right.
I mean, you got to be concerned. I mean, they've 3-7 in the last 10.
I mean, honestly, I am, and I think if Frankie was here, I think Frankie would honestly tell you that he is concerned. Me and Frankie have had quite a few open conversations about both of our teams and the expectations. Right now, the Yankees, I don't see the Yankees in any way, shape, or form getting that division. I just don't see that being feasible because they got so many injuries and they've had so many injuries. I don't think that's feasible. I think what is still feasible is the fact that they are still right now currently in a wild card spot. They're a half game up on, I think it's the Angels or whoever it was. I want to say it was the Angels, but right now they're still slotted in the wild card. So right now they're in the playoffs if it was to end today. But the problem is it's not ending today. And at some point they have to find that resurrection and get back to playing, Yankee baseball. And with the injuries, that's going to be tough because I don't even know when Judge is coming back. I mean, he may be out for
I was going to say that's what
pitching is another bad thing for them. I know Frankie will tell you that this bullpen is great, but I don't think his bullpen is great.
Honestly, Jay, their pitching isn't that bad. They have a 3.76 team ERA. Now, I'm not saying their bullpen's great, but overall, their pitching's been pretty good.
Let me put it this way: their pitch is not good enough to sustain with the way the offense is pitching, with the way their offense is playing.
That's their biggest problem. Biggest problem is their offense.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Their pitching is not such that they can. You know what I'm saying? Like they get in trouble quick sometimes.
Well, they're real comparable to the Mariners because the Mariners are hitting 227.
Ooh, don't tell Frankie that he'll have a cow.
Here's why I say that. Here's why I say that. Yankees are hitting 229 as a team. Mariners are hitting 227 as a team. Yeah. Yankees have a 3.79 ERA, team ERA. The Mariners have a 3.85 team ERA.
Oh, I agree with what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think Frank, you don't want to hear that.
But I mean, you get Judge back, that helps some, but I don't know if just getting Judge back is going to help their offense enough.
Yeah, IKF actually had a pretty decent day hitting the ball. I think he went 2 for 3 or 2 for 4, something like that. He didn't do too bad today. But IKF, when I watched him playing in the outfield today, there was quite a few balls that I felt like he should have caught and he didn't catch. And he's a little slow. Like when the ball ricocheted off, I forget who was that hit the ball, but the ball went to the wall, came out, carried out the wall. He was real slow to react to it and get the ball back. And because he was slow, it wound up turning into a double. I think he probably could have held it to a single had he responded quicker. But because he was a little bit slower in that outfield, it wound up being a double on it. So I think IKF could be a defensive liability in the outfield, even though he hit the ball fairly decent today. So there's Gleyber Torres. I'm not a Gleyber Torres fan. He still seems to make his way into the Yankees rotation, but I'm just not a big fan of some of the spots that they have going on right now. I felt Harrison Bader, they had him coming off the bench, pinch hitting in a couple of spots or in a spot, but it was at the very end of the game, and I felt like Harrison Bader should have been in the game full time. But that's just me.
Yeah, I can understand that. Believe me, there's been some stuff that the Reds manager will do, and I'm like, what in the hell are you thinking?
Oh, absolutely. And same thing for Dusty. This year, matter of fact, Dusty's actually come under fire a lot. There have actually been people in the organization that are questioning whether Dusty should be the manager because of some of the decisions that he's made, not only in the pitching staff, but on the rotation with the positional players. So I agree, man. I mean, everybody's had their issues for sure.
Hey, I'll be honest. Tonight, I had one of them in that first inning when our starting pitcher gave up 5 hits and 5 runs. I'm like, why in the hell do you still have this dude in the game? Now, don't get me wrong. The guy came back. He pitched a scoreless second and a scoreless third, and he started the fourth. I think got 1 out, and then they ended up pulling him. But he was just he didn't have his stuff tonight at all. He couldn't find his location. I'm thinking, how big of a hole are you going to let him dig us? And,
right.
But luckily, Dele Cruz came up in there in that third inning, boom, home run, and then Joey Votto hits a big home run, and
I actually was right. In the wild card standings, it's Baltimore at the top spot, Houston at the second spot. But if Houston loses tonight, then they would tie the Yankees for that second and third spot. And then at number 4, this is where you're out of the playoffs, right? At number 4, you got Toronto. At number 5, you got the Angels, but they're both tied. So that means they're only a half game behind the Yankees. That's how close it is right now. You're only talking half a game between being in the playoffs or being out of the playoffs.
And not only that, you got other teams that are not that far back either. You got Boston's coming on. There's
I'm not really worried about Seattle or Cleveland or any of those. I'd be more concerned with Boston. Specifically Boston, especially if you're a Yankees fan, because they've lost. Didn't they get swept by Boston not too long ago? So Boston owns the Yankees right now. So if it came down to that, Boston would have the edge.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The division, man, is so tough. The Red Sox is right there behind them. The Blue Jays are right there. And I mean, I wouldn't count out the Mariners because, like Dustin said, after the All-Star break last year is when they caught fire.
I agree. And I think the only reason I'm counting the Mariners out right now anyway is because Anaheim, I think it's Los Angeles Angels. The Angels are playing so good right now that I think it kind of negates the Mariners a little bit. I'm more worried about the Angels than I am the Mariners. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I can see that.
But at the same time, I'm going to speak out the other side of my mouth too and tell you that when the season began – we actually lost the season, or not the season. We lost the series to the Mariners. So we will see the Mariners, I think, pretty soon. I think we see the Mariners right before we see the Rangers, before All-Star break. So we do have another meeting with those guys. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, Tony, to your part, I mean, if the Astros don't get their heads together and get on sync with each other, we could very well be, the second to last. And it could be Texas, LA and Seattle, and then Houston if we don't get ourselves together. So to say that, I guess, yeah, you're right. I mean, the Mariners could somehow – I don't think they'd jump to Anaheim. Anaheim is just playing really good, but I think they get up in there. But if Mike Trout don't get his ass start hitting that damn ball again, that could affect the Angels.
That's true.
I'll tell you, the team that's on fire right now, too, is the damn San Francisco Giants.
Yeah. Oh, geez, Louise, man. You're not kidding. As a matter of fact, I think the Giants are actually in the wild card.
We're down.
I just checked it. I'm pretty sure they're winning.
Okay, they were down 1-0 before we started the show.
Up 8-4.
Son of a bitch.
So right now, if you look at the National League, wild card standing, San Francisco's at the top, but they're tied. They're tied with the Marlins, and right underneath them is the Dodgers. And they're only a half a game. Both of those teams are a half a game above the Dodgers. And then right behind the Dodgers, you got Milwaukee. But Milwaukee is 2.5 games out of the wild card. So really it is still a topsy-turvy between the Giants, the Marlins, and the Dodgers right now.
You got the Phillies, too, it's got the same record.
And we all know what Philly did last year, right? Philly came out of nowhere and made it to the World Series, and we didn't even think they were going to do it, but they wound up snagging that wild card spot, and of course we saw how that turned out.
And I know the Padres are 3 games under 500. But with all that talent they got, could they get hot?
You said which team, Tony?
The Padres. Man, they're 3 games under 500 right now. With all that damn talent. because I mean they're 30.
It's going to take a lot. I agree with you. If they got hot and other teams cooled off, specifically, let's talk specifically, maybe the Miami Marlins and the Dodgers. I don't know if San Fran. I think San Fran kind of still hangs in there. But particularly if Miami and the Dodgers, if they go into a cool spell, I mean, because right now they're 5.5 back out of the playoffs. The Padres are, so they're 5.5 back, and so is the Cubs.
If you can stay within 6 to 7 games though, at the All-Star break, if you catch hot, you can make it. Think about the Washington Nationals a few years ago when they came back and ended up going to the World Series.
Let's see, the Padres, their problem is hitting. Their pitching, if I remember right, Chris, their pitching's not.
But I mean, don't get me wrong; they have to get real hot. Other things have to happen, like you're saying. But I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it happen before. I don't know what the hell's going on with the Padres. If you look on paper with all that talent they have, for them to be hitting the ball.
Well, the interesting thing too. I mean, we talk about it on paper. I mean, look at the Mets on paper. I mean, even though they did lose Diaz, their all-star closer, they lost him for the season. And Scherzer, had that 10-game suspension that he was out for sticky substances. Verlander doesn't really look like the Verlander that was playing with Houston last year. He's almost a more pedestrian version of Verlander. So at this point right now, look at the Mets. I mean, the Mets are 7.5 games out of the wild card, but yet they had the most expensive damn payroll.
And Frankie's not going to like this either, but the Padres numbers are real close to the same numbers as the Yankees. Padres are hitting 229 as a team and have a 3.79 team ERA.
Yeah, that's some of these teams are that were hitting so well last year are not hitting well this year. I don't know. Maybe
I can tell you a couple teams that are hitting well.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Jake.
The Reds and the Braves. I watched it tonight.
Do you think the shift has affected the Yankees?
I think the shift, I do. Me and Gonzo talked about this earlier, by the way, Gonzo. Was it the fact that you guys had really good hitting, or was it the fact that maybe both of your teams sucked at pitching today? I don't know. It's either the glass is half full or half empty, honestly, at that point.
Hey,
okay. But no, marinate. No. I want you to marinate. No. You don't marinate enough. Tony, you know what the problem is with today's generation is? Today's generation doesn't marinate on knowledge. They are so quick to come back when I just made a really valid point, and he doesn't want to marinate and think about it for a minute. Tony, what's wrong with you? Are you a millennial? Are you in that millennial generation? Are you on the borderline between X and millennial?
You can't ask a question.
Jesus Christ, I got beards older than your coach.
Answer it is all I'm saying. And here's my answer to it. I think the Reds or the Braves hitting was the many hits they got was due some to the Reds pitching being so bad because they had 18 hits to score their 10 runs, but the Reds only had 9 hits to score 11 runs.
I think you can make a valid point though that maybe that pitching today wasn't, and it's on both sides. I think pitching on both sides they struggled mightily.
Well, no, but I'm saying the Braves pitching today was better than the Reds pitching, and the Reds was still able to pull out the victory.
Yeah, and by the way, Mike Hughes, I have lots of problems with Gen Z. I really do. But again, as a whole, there are people within Gen Z that are amazing people. Mike Hughes, you're an amazing guy. I don't necessarily classify you in the Gen Z, but I do got problems with Gen Z. Hell yeah, I do. One of these days we'll do a political show, but that's not today. Today we're talking sports.
All right. Well, you got.
But hold on, but Chris, Tony, you asked a question. I didn't mean to deviate. Was it the Yankee? We're talking about the Yankees specifically, correct?
Yeah.
And I think you were asking if they could come back. Is that what you were asking, or what was the question again?
No. I asked you, did you think the shift has really affected them?
Oh, that's right, the shift. And I told you, I got problems. Gonzo knows my problem. Me and Gonzo had many conversations about the shift, and I do think there are some teams out there that probably do battle with the shift a little bit. I think specifically the Yankees, because like I told you earlier, IKF really struggled get into some of the balls. And I think that's where the shift comes into play. I think, when you're able to put that first baseman or shortstop or what have you in a deeper, or excuse me, not first baseman, second baseman or shortstop a little bit deeper in the grass a little bit, then it takes away some of those hits. So yeah, do I think it's all of it? No. But I do think there is a certain percentage. I don't know what that percentage would be. Maybe 20%, maybe 30%. That is directly affected by the shift. Now, again, the other side of that coin, watch this. The other side, the reason why I say it's only about 30% and not 100%. He said, "Fuck Gen Z." I didn't say that, but I kind of. Hey, shh. What I'm trying to say is this: when I look at the Astros, take the Astros for example. And I only use the Astros because that's the team I watch all the time. And so let me use that to prove my point. When I see Framber Valdez, Javier, or even Brown pitch outstanding games, I mean, we're up by 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs, and then the 7th inning comes around and we throw our damn bullpen in there, and our bullpen just jacks it up. And of course, we wind up losing the game. Well, then I can't really say it's a shift, right? Because why was it good for the starters but not good for the bullpen? So, Jay, you got to be consistent. So I don't think it's all the shift. I want to make that clear. It's not all the shift. I give it about 20 to 30% because there are some hits that the shift could take away. But it's certainly not the end-all, be-all to it. There's more things that encompass that.
How much of it do you think is Judge going out, being hurt?
Oh, wow, man. Well, he took that really nasty hit on the wall, which I think gave him turf toe. It did something to his big toe where he's been out for a hot minute. I don't know when we're going to get Judge back, to be honest with you. I would say maybe a month.
A big toe? What
3-4 weeks.
A big toe? What kind of pussy is he? A big toe?
I can't say that word. My wife, I said that word one time and she got really upset with me. So the only way I can say that word is if I put cat after it. So he's a pussy cat.
Yeah, sissy. Big toe.
But I got to put cat after it. I can't just say the first word on its own merit. I got to say he's a pussy cat.
He's a pussy cat.
Like I can't say dick. I got to say Grady Dick.
Grady Dick.
Hey, Mel.
It's not offensive if I say no offense.
Mel, whoop that ass.
Bro, you don't know. Bro, man, there's nights I wake up and I pray to God that there's not a cleaver at my throat and I'm not hanging from a swing set with the blood draining out.
Speaking of Grady Dick, what'd you think of the NBA draft last night?
Hey, by the way, I saw you laugh. You just heard that part where I said the blood draining out from the swing set, but go ahead.
And not only the NBA draft, since you mentioned Grady Dick, but what did you think of his suit?
Yeah, that suit. I think we talked about this. He's from Kansas, and I think it was like supposed to be this ode to the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. I think it was more of an ode to the LGBTQ community. I don't know.
Yeah, he even had the red slippers to match the coat.
Man, all I know is apparently the Skittles are gray now. There's a bag of the Skittles coming as gray.
I think he was a good pick for the Raptors, though.
I don't know. I've heard good things and bad things. I don't know. And Mike Hughes, if I'm misquoting you, I hope it, and I might be wrong on this. I do remember somebody telling me that if Grady Dick was to be drafted. No, it wasn't Mike Hughes. It was a different person. I forget who it was specifically. I think it was one of the guys in the comments when we were doing the draft that had made that comment. But one of the guys said if Grady Dick got drafted to their team, they weren't going to watch Bulls basketball anymore. Like they were just going to disown it. And I forget who it was. Chris, I know we talked about it when we were doing the draft, and I cannot remember who it was specifically that said that comment.
Was it Damien?
No,
I don't think it was Damien. I think it was somebody else.
I'm saying it, but it wasn't Damien.
That sounds like something Damien would say.
Oh man, Damien! Again, if you're watching this on YouTube because you can't comment on Facebook, I'm so sorry about the ban.
Oh yeah, I forgot you banned them. That's probably why
bro
on here,
bro. But if it's any consolation, hey Damien, if it's any consolation, I banned Tony too by accident. So it's not like I'm purposely selecting you.
Just Mexicans.
Well, only the ones that are at the border right now, the 32,000. The rest of them are okay.
Billy had another 3-team parlay last night. Billy's been hot in parlays.
Hey, man, he's been hitting them parlays like a champ. Man, maybe you should invite. Hey, should we invite Billy Buzz on the Easy Money Show?
He won it on a 2-run home run.
All right,
off the LSU game.
By the way, hey, that's actually kind of a good segue. I wanted to talk about that real quick. Did you guys happen to catch that at Rocco's Pizzeria and Cantina, which is right across the street from the stadium that the College World Series is being played in? Todd Graves, CEO of Raising Cane Chickens, you can't make this up, goes to the patio and asks to speak to the manager because he wants to place a major order. Do you guys know this man placed an order, you can't make this up, for $30,000 worth of Jello shots? Let me help you do the math on that. That is 6,000 drinks. 6,000 drinks this man bought at the cantina. And apparently that broke a Jello challenge record that was set previously. So he broke that record.
Yeah, I saw that, but it reminds me of the stories that you hear about Ric Flair. Ric Flair would go in a bar and buy like 100 shots. He'd walk in and buy like 100 shots. And they said that
100 shots. Can you imagine 6,000 Jello shots?
But they said, and sometimes more. But they said there might only be 3 people in the freaking place, like a hotel bar. There might be 3 people in there, and he'd go in there and buy 100 or 200 shots and be passing out to everybody.
He said, if Jay blinks once, I'll call off work tomorrow. Real quick, and I don't know what that means. Am I blinking? Am I not blinking? Am I doing something weird? I don't know. Yep, I'm calling off. Okay. Hey, Mike. Hey, I love you, bro. Don't call off, man. You actually need to go to work. I need to go to work. We all need to go to work. Don't nobody take the damn day off tomorrow. Damn, Mike Hughes gets one damn interview with Ice Cube, and he's already called off work thinking he's a millionaire. You're not there yet, Mike, but you're on your way. If you get about 4 more big interviews, I swear you're going to be on ESPN. And I do think you take Max Kellerman's job, and you'll do a better job than Max Kellerman. That's how much I believe in Mike Hughes. Rob Scott, maybe you take. I think maybe Rob Scott takes Stephen A's job. He could be the next Stephen A.
Hold on. Kellerman's not a good example to use because he just lost his show at ESPN.
Oh damn, my bad. Well, then Mike Hughes will be the next Pat McAfee. Actually, I kind of can see that because they kind of both have the same personality. So I can see him being the next Pat McAfee.
That's who took Kellerman's. Took Kellerman's.
Is that right? Oh, is that right? So McAfee took Kellerman's job. Wow,
they're canceling Kellerman's show at noon, and that's going to be the spot that McAfee's show is going to be in.
Hey, listen. Hey, Mike, you're not too far off. Hey, but Mike, at the worst case scenario, at least I didn't call you Skip Bayless, okay? So calm down. I didn't say Skip. I said Max Kellerman, okay? Whatever. No, but could you imagine? I want you just think for a second. If you're at Rocco's Pizzeria and Cantina, and your manager comes to you and says, "Excuse me, I'm just using the name Mark, for example. Mark, I need you to make 6,000 Jello shots, please. And I need it Ricky Tick." Don't you know Mark's thinking like, oh, fuck this shit. I'm out of this. 6,000 Jello? No, I'm good. No, I'm not making 6,000 Jello shots. I'll be here until tomorrow.
I don't know who's older than me or Skip Bayless. I don't know how old is Skip Bayless.
He says Skip and Pops were both born in BC. Yeah, well, they both are kind of old. No doubt about it.
I am. I don't know.
I'm not sure how old Skip is.
But let me ask you this. Gonzo, let me ask you this specifically, man. If your boss came to you, you're a bartender at a bar, and he says, "Look, man, I need 6,000 Jello shots." What are you telling the manager?
Honestly, it would be kind of hard to do because you gotta make them like a day before. It ain't like something. Jello shots ain't something you can make in just a few minutes. You gotta let.
And let me ask you this. Let's go one step further. Do you think that bar actually carries enough liquor to make 6,000 Jello shots? Do you even think they have enough space in that bar to store 6,000 shots.
Yeah, it depends on it depends on what kind of like bar it is, how big the kitchen area is. If they have like one of the walk-in coolers, you know what I mean? Like some restaurants have them walk-in coolers. You might. But
wait a minute, asshole! Skip Bayless 71, man. I'm 59. Shut the fuck up.
Hey, all I know is there's somebody in a bar pissed off that they got to make 6,000 Jello shots. That's all I know. He said, "Let me ask you this: how many Jello shots have you had tonight, sir?" You know, Mike, I don't specifically do Jello shots. I leave that for people like Jonathan Mathis because they think they can outdrink everybody. So I'm gonna let Jonathan have the Jello shots to go with his little tiny Modelo drinks. Like really, Jonathan Mathis, if you're gonna talk about outdrinking somebody, number one, don't have a beer in your hand, have a shot glass. And number two, if you are gonna have a beer in your hand, don't have the mini beer. Do the full size.
Billy says, "Oh, wrong one."
He said, "Golly, Pop's coming out with the shots, bang, bang, bang."
Billy says, "Skip not looking too good."
It's in his old age. Yeah, man. Honestly, I didn't realize Skip Bayless was 71. I didn't realize he was that old. I thought Skip might have been late 50s, early 60s. I wasn't putting him at 70.
I was thinking he was like 65 at least, but I wouldn't.
No, I figured at least 65. I didn't know.
Just because he's been around for so damn long. But no, what'd you think about the NBA draft?
Oh man, as I told you earlier, and Tony knows this because I'm pretty sure Tony was. I think Tony was in the comments when I said it. I felt like, number one, the fact that Tony's messaging me, telling me how good Houston draft, and I already thought that made me feel really good about my thought process that I was on the right track. So Tony, thank you for messaging me. Dustin, the stat guy, said, "Wow, I can't believe you got Whitmore." I said, "I can't believe we got Whitmore either." So for the two picks that we had, I thought we did phenomenal, A+. But I was really super, super impressed with the way Indiana drafted. And guys, I've told you this. I thought you guys drafted the best out of anybody because you increased your draft capital. You got the guy you wanted. You got two defensive-minded individuals. And you got Wong that resurrected Miami and got them back into the Final Four. So with everything that you drafted, in the positions in which you drafted them in, I think some of it was luck, but a lot of it was really good strategy on the part of the Indiana Pacers. Excuse me. So I thought you guys did well.
And then the Pacers also signed a real good undrafted free agent. The guy didn't get drafted last night from Kentucky. The Oscar Tshimbe, or however you pronounce his name, is the guy that stat guy was talking about earlier on the afternoon show. But the Pacers end up getting him as an undrafted free agent as well, and I really like that pickup.
Yeah, Frankie, I get what you're saying. Look, Frankie, you guys were drafted kind of low down in the rankings, so the fact that you even had a draft pick at all was really good. But yeah, I really don't know too much about the guys that you drafted. I didn't really do a deep study on them, so I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Mike said he's getting an aneurysm by watching the Bulls draft, even though Dustin was happy just the fact that the Bulls even had a draft pick. So, and who got Sanogo? Which team got him?
Nobody drafted him. I'm not sure.
No. I know he wasn't drafted, but he got picked up though.
I think he went to Orlando. I think he's playing the summer league with Orlando. I think I've seen that.
I know we talked about the afternoon show. I just can't remember the team that y'all said. I think Dustin had said the team that he got drafted by. Or not drafted, but he signed to. Bulls got Sanogo. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
Bulls.
you, Dustin.
Okay. That's a good pick.
Dustin said the Bulls got Sanogo. So maybe that was a bright Mike Hughes. Maybe that's your bright spot. Maybe your draft didn't go the way you wanted it to. But the fact you got Sanogo out of UConn, which played a really good Final Four, and even a championship, be happy with that. And you got Sanogo on a really cheap deal, so you're not even having to pay this guy a lot of money. So there was at least a little bit of bright spot there for you.
And Frankie, the guy you guys got from Indiana, he has a lot of potential if they develop him. Dude can shoot the hell out of the ball.
I think he came out too early.
I think he came out a year too early, in my opinion. But that Hood Chavino does have a hell of a lot of potential. He can shoot the lights out of the ball when he gets going. Problem with him was at the beginning of the year he struggled, but like toward the end of the season he had 2 or 3 games where he had a couple 36-point games, like a 41-point game where he just couldn't miss. But he has a lot of potential and he's athletic. So I thought he should have played one more year of college, but that's my opinion. But
he came out because he knew he was going to get drafted fairly high.
Yeah.
Frankie said that the Rockets drafted the wrong twin. I don't see it that way. I think we drafted the right twin, but he also puts a smiley face on it, so I think he's just playing around.
Hey Jay, how'd you do on your first 5 picks in the mock draft yesterday?
Well, not as good as you did. Hey, listen, but you know, just like I know, that could have gone either way. You got lucky today, Gonzo, okay? Let's not put – I agree you went 5 for 5. I went 4 for 5. But I want to say this. A little bit of that was a little bit of luck on your part. Though.
Hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Hey, listen, I know you copied that one too, and you're right. Sometimes it is better to be lucky than good. So I agree with you. Hey, and you've been lucky twice in the last 2 days. You got lucky in the draft, and you got lucky that you got one more run than freaking the Atlanta Braves did.
It don't matter if you win by 10 or you win by 1.
Oh, I get it, man. 1 inch or a mile. We can play puns all day. Doesn't matter if you get it by 1 penis or 2. I mean, Grady penis, Grady dick, whatever. You know. You got the win, so I'm gonna acknowledge the fact that you got 2 really good, impressive wins today and yesterday. The 3 UConn Husky players got drafted last night. People here don't expect them to last long in the NBA. You know, it is weird. You're right. So out of the 3 UConn guys, why wasn't one of them Sonogo? Seriously, I mean, as well as he played in March Madness, why? And Gonzo, I know you brought this up quite a few times. Why he wasn't drafted is beyond you. And also why I think was it Jackson Davis or Jared, whatever that is. The fact that he fell down to 57 at Golden State, which even that other guy,
I think Golden State got a still
whatever they had him going higher.
Billis had him going.
There you go, Billis. Yeah,
but no, I think Golden State got a steal on Davis because he could play that Draymond role for them. Well, he can pass the ball. He can get up and down the court. He ain't a great jump shooter. But he can score in the post. Yeah, I wanted to
run the floor.
Yeah, he can run the floor. I wanted the Pacers to take him there late in that second round when he was still around. But
I was yelling and screaming.
But I've been a Davis fan too, and some of that is how good he is, but some of that is also I watched his dad play.
Yeah,
because his dad played for the Pacers, Del Davis. So I mean, and then he played for IU. I'm a big IU fan, so I've watched the guy play a lot.
I got a question for you guys. I was watching Colin Cowherd earlier today, and he says that Portland they got Scoot Henderson. He's the guy they need to build around. They need to get rid of Dame and build around Scoot. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I talked about that earlier as well. You know, the fact that they got Scoot Henderson to go along Shaden. What's that other guy's name? I can never remember his name. I know his last name is his first name is Shaden. And I wrote it. I always forget his last name though. That he got paired with along with Damian. Who was that guy's last name?
I can't think of his name now.
Oh, and I wrote it down too. Shaden Sharp. Which is the other outstanding building block that they have besides Damian Lillard. I think Scoot Henderson, like I said earlier, I think he's going to take some of the pressure off of Lillard. I think he's going to get paired well with Shaden Sharp. And I think that he's going to advance. I'm not going to say they're rebuilding, but he's going to advance their growth in the playoffs come next year. I do expect them, if they don't make the play-in, I think they get close to making it. I do think Portland makes the play-in next year, and I think Scoot Henderson is going to be a really, really good, talented guy. I would not be surprised if, 5 or 6 years from now, we go back and look at this draft and be like, how good Scoot was, and maybe Scoot should have been drafted a little higher than Brandon Miller. So
I wouldn't be surprised if by the trade deadline if Damian Lillard's traded away from Portland.
Do you think? Because I don't know, Portland seems pretty adamant about them not shopping him.
But Damian had also said that he didn't want if they weren't going to make some moves to try to compete and like with some other players that he didn't want to go through like a complete rebuild, and then they went and drafted Scoot, who can kind of be at the same position. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you see Lillard be traded sometime.
When they get more now,
season.
though, if they traded him now, if you wait, because I don't know.
Yeah.
And think about this: if you're Portland, and you're going through the draft,
if you're Portland, though, you might be able to talk to Dame and say, "Hey, give us let's see how this works," and then to like the trade deadline or whatever, see where we're at, and if you're still not happy, then we'll figure something out and get you out of here.
Hey, and Portland did, like I was telling you earlier, Portland did say that just because they drafted Scoot Henderson at 3 doesn't mean that they're not going to move on from him. So don't be surprised if Scoot Henderson doesn't get moved to another team. I'm not ruling that out completely either. And you know how much the Pelicans are high on Scoot Henderson. So could we possibly see Scoot Henderson and maybe a couple of picks get packaged up for Zion and bring Zion over to Portland?
I thought that might. Well, remember I said that on script last night. I thought that might happen last night during the draft before the number 3 pick.
Doral from Indianapolis, he wanted the Pacers to go after Zion. I don't agree with that.
I don't. If Zion was on the court, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But the dude can't be on. And
that's the thing, right? That's what makes Zion so intriguing, is because
what are you going to give up?
But at the same time, you're leery of, like Chris said and like Tony said, the on-court availability. And the best ability is availability. And if Zion can somehow or another get himself, rectified injury-wise and stay on the court, then that could be a huge turnaround for whoever gets him. But at the same time, we all know that Mother Nature, human beings, flesh and bones, things don't always go the way we want them to go. And as good as his ability is, his body may just not be able to stay healthy enough to maximize it. Greg Oden was a great example of that. Yao Ming was a great example of that. I mean, these are guys that could have been phenomenal at their position, but injuries and lack of staying healthy just wouldn't allow that. Grant Hill was another example of that.
Yep.
And obviously, you could throw D Rose in there too. So, I mean, at what point? And I guess the real question is, at what point do you say enough is enough, waiting on court availability because of the upside? At what point does the lack of availability increase over whatever upside you think he may or may not have? Which is a shame, because Zion was supposed to be the next big freak athlete after LeBron.
And why I would be leery about the Pacers going after him. And if you're any team, I think you're going to feel the same way. Is the Pelicans are going to want a lot for him. So you want to give up that much for a guy that's not going to be on the court. Now, when he's on the court, he can help you a lot. But if you're not on the court, that's the thing. Just like Billy's saying, you got to be on the court 90% of the time, and he's not on the court. He's on the court maybe 10% of the time.
Right. Billy also asked us the question, what do we think about Smart being traded away? And I think me and Gonzo, if I'm wrong, you correct me on this. I think me and you had a meeting of the minds where we felt like if Porzingis can be the Porzingis of last year and give you 23, 8, and 2, that would be a good move. But at the same time, it being a good move, you're also exposing a very big weakness in your point guard position. Now, if they can somehow or another swing Van Fleet and get him to come over and join the team right along with Porzingis, well, now you're looking at a Celtics team that could very well be, a dynamic machine. if Porzingis can live up to what he gave you last year. So if you get Van Fleet and last year's Porzingis on this ball club, well, hell, man. I mean, the sky could be the limit, right? I don't know what you're laughing at. No. Listen. If you're looking at naked pictures of me, I didn't put them on there. Okay.
I got a message from him from Jonathan Mathis.
Oh, man, because I thought you really did have some naked pictures of me.
Dodgers beat the cheating Astros. Jay.
This is the same Jonathan Mathis that rags on the Dodgers every day. So what do we care? What do we care? Jonathan Mathis, I love you, bro. You know, I have no ill will towards you. You know, you went over to Sports Empire, whatevs. You said you could outdrink everybody, whatevs. Yeah, you know, but at the end of the day, the Dodgers are still in the same place the Astros are in, the wild card spot. So what do we really care? I would rather have an Astros team that has a much more aligned pitching unit than what you got over there in LA. So at the end of the day, let's just wait and let the cards shake out and go where we go. You got us by 1 run. Great. 3-2 win. Good job. We gave you J.P. France for crying out loud. Let me tell you about J.P. France. This is the same guy that Jim Cross, because J.P. came out of Jim Cross's neighborhood. So Jim Cross knows J.P. France real well. I asked Jim Cross what he thought about J.P. France, and he said, he's okay. He's garbage, whatever. He's not going to be like this great pitcher. Think about that for a minute. Jim Cross, who interviews college athletes on a regular basis, is telling me that J.P. France isn't really that great of a pitcher. But yet you only beat us by 1 run. Let that sink in. A pitcher who's not that great went up against Mookie Betts, Outman, Freeman, the rest of your tribe, and you got us by 1 run. 1 run. What's that really tell you about the Dodgers? Come down to me tomorrow when you're going against Framber Valdez or Javier or Hunter Brown. Let's have that conversation then. We'll have it tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Oh, man.
You're killing me. What did he really say that, or are you just making that up?
No, he
didn't say Jay, but he did say that.
He posted on Facebook.
But
he didn't say Jay. He just said that the Dodgers beat the cheating Astros. Yay.
You know what? I wish there was an emoji that had a big hand and a tiny beer.
A big hand and a tiny beer.
I would post that 24/7 and not even tag him in it. Just post a big hand and a tiny beer. God. If you're out there, what is it, iOS or Android, when you give us all the little emojicons or whatever you call them things, can you give it? You gave us the middle finger, which I thought was amazing. Could you just give us a big hand and a tiny beer, please? If you could give us that, I would be eternally grateful. What a time to be alive. I drink 1 tiny Modelo, and I think I'm the top of the world. God forbid if he gets a hold of a craft beer that has 9% alcohol. Oh, Lord. Hey, real quick, man. Let me ask you guys a question. I know we talked, and Gonzo, this isn't really for you. This is really more for your dad because I've got your opinion already on it, so I kind of know where you stand. But Tony, we were talking about running backs the other day and the value of them, so forth. Obviously, Pollard is still laid up for probably 6 or 7 weeks into the season. We don't have Zeke anymore. Dalvin Cook is clearly out there. Do you think Dalvin Cook will be a good fit for my Cowboys? I think so. But how do you see Dalvin Cook working out?
I think he'd be outstanding. I just don't. I don't know. I mean, I know why Minnesota wants to get rid of him. They think that Madison can take his place and be a lot cheaper. We'll see. I mean, you know what you got in Cook. I mean, how much he want? Do you know, Chris? How much he's wanting a year? 14-15 million, probably. I'm not saying he's going to get it, but that's what he's wanting.
From what I was hearing today on from N. Rappaport, that he thinks that he'll probably end up getting somewhere between probably the 6 to 8 million range a year.
If that's all he's going to get, why Minnesota wouldn't pay him? I think they're fools.
And they think Zeke will be below that. Is what he was saying. He thinks Zeke will be cheaper. He thinks there's a good chance Zeke goes back to Dallas. He also said he thought there was a chance maybe that Cook went to Dallas. He thinks that Cook's a good chance that Cook is going to end up with New York Jets.
Oh man, I don't know if I see that as much because they have Breece Hall.
Yeah, but Breece Hall coming off that injury.
But how much do you see him playing with his brother? How much do you see him playing with his brother in Buffalo? I can see Buffalo more than I see the Jets. If we're going that direction.
He said Buffalo, Jets, and there was another team he thought were the top three teams that he thought that would that Cook was going to be going to.
Let me ask you: if you're Minnesota, why not pay him $6 or $7, $8 million? I mean.
Well, if Dalvin Cook would play with the Cowboys for $8 million, I would pull that trigger in a heartbeat. I'd pull that trigger. I'd give Dalvin Cook $8 million to come play for the Cowboys. Hell yeah, I would all day. Frankie says, talking about the Astros being cheaters. Let me tell you something, Frankie. We cheated and we won a World Series. Germán cheated, and you can't even win better than 500. Let that sink in for a minute. What a time to be alive. Cook was making $12.3 million. He was cut to clear cap. Yeah, I understand he was cut to clear cap space. Hell, that's why Zeke was cut. Zeke was cut to clear cap space too. And again, Gonzo, you know we talked about this earlier I think you were on the script with me when I talked about it. When I gave the positional breakdown of what each position made, we looked at running back, and the good running backs average is $10 million a year. I think quarterbacks were around 30 to 32 million a year. So I gotta believe that Dalvin Cook, if he wants to play in the NFL again, he's gonna either look at 10 million or less if he wants to come back in the league. So I think Dallas comes out and says, "Yo, look, Dalvin, we'll give you a 3-year, $8 million a year, $24 million contract, and we'll guarantee $15 million." You know. And if he doesn't want that, then I think we bump it up to 10 years. So we go 3 years at $30 million, and we guarantee, $19 million. I think at some point we could get Dalvin into that framework at $10 million or less, and we would still be good to go.
Yeah, but he had Dallas. Like I said, Rappaport had Dallas in his 3 or 4 teams that he thought would be the 3 or 4 that he would be going to.
And Dallas was not. And I know you said Buffalo was 1. You said the Jets were 2. What was the third team you had in there?
Dallas was one of them, and I'm trying to remember the other one. I can't remember.
I think he'd be a great pickup for the Cowboys.
He was on a Pat McAfee show today. That's where I was. Where I had heard it. I watch McAfee show a lot.
Yeah, and Dustin, I agree with you. His durability has been an issue. You know that better than anybody because you watch Minnesota football 24/7. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. But at the same time, $8 million, $9 million for his upside, and he's not going to play every down because he's going to have Pollard back at some point to take some of the load off. I think he would have to probably carry the majority of the load for the first 6 weeks. But then when they get Pollard back, I think he goes to third, maybe second or third down back, and so
a lot of these NFL teams are trying to go to this running back by committee because of that fact. Is a lot of these running backs have injuries. It's a
absolutely
position for guys to stay healthy because of all the contact that you're taking and getting banged up and stuff. So you're seeing these guys wanting to get a couple good running backs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, I think Miami is a perfect example of that. They've got 3 running backs, I think, on their team. So,
how much you think the Colts will have to pay Taylor? Keep him.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think you pay him more than $10 million. I guarantee you that. I think you offer him around maybe a 3 or 4 year deal at $10 million, or 10.5 if you want to go a little bit more, maybe $10.5 million.
Yeah, I figured it'd probably somewhere around there. I was thinking maybe between 10 to 12, somewhere around there. That's probably what they'll offer him for maybe 2 or 3 year deal. Billy, I've heard people say Dolphins. That wasn't the team that he said. But to me, Dolphins don't make a lot of sense because they already have 3 pretty good running backs. You have Mostert. You have, of course, I'm going to forget some of their names. Who's the other running backs they have, Jay? Mostert.
They got Mostert, Wilson, I believe.
Yeah, Wilson.
And then they have a third running back, and I
pretty good running backs. So
they have a third. There's a third running back, and I think it's that dude. What's that dude's name? Gaston. Is it Miles Gaston or something like that? I think is their third guy. Gaston was their primary running back before they brought over Mostert and Wilson. I want to say, and I'll have to look at that, but I'm pretty sure it's Wilson, Mostert, and I believe Gaston.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch that, and I'll look and see what other team he said, and I'll be able to tell you on the next show because I can't think of it. It was earlier today before I watched that wild ass Reds game, and I got my mind all. I was in here. I'm not gonna lie. I was in here going crazy. Dylan Cruz hit that home.
Oh, they actually have 4 running backs. It's Mostert as the starter. You got Jeff Wilson as the second, and then the third one is Devon Akane or Acne, however you want to say that dude's last name. And then their 4th running back is Miles Gaskin. So they have 4 running backs on their team.
So I don't know how much sense it would make for them to go after Cook, but I've heard a lot of people say Cook to the Dolphins, but that wasn't the other team that he had said. I can't remember.
Man, I'm saying right now, man, honestly, if for some reason
I know who it was. Who it was. It was New England.
Oh, the Patriots were in there, huh?
But it wasn't Rappaport that said New England. It was Michael Lombardi that said New England, and he has connections. He has ties with New England, and he said that he thinks that you can see them maybe go after Cook, especially if they don't get Hopkins. And Frankie, I know that you're not going to hear this, but he said he don't know if the Hopkins deal will get made because he thinks Hopkins wants more money than what New England's willing to pay him. And he don't think that Bill's gonna budge on that, and he used to actually be tied with the Patriots at one time. He was an advisor, and I think he was a GM for the Browns, but he was an advisor. He has a couple Super Bowl rings with the Patriots from where he'd been on New England staff. That was the other team that got said today, but it went by Rappaport. Rappaport had said the other teams, but right. The other team that got mentioned was New England.
And Billy goes on to say, what about Broncos or Tampa? But I don't think he goes to either one of those two because I think he wants to be on a contender, if nothing else. And neither one of those two teams are contenders.
They did. And actually, Billy, they did mention the Broncos. That was mentioned on their Broncos were because of Sean Payton. That they thought Sean Payton would want them, and they think that team's going to move around. Dustin says that Hopkins ends up in Kansas City.
I mean, you know what? Hey, we've seen stranger things happen, and you know how teams always come in at the last second and swoop up and get him. So to say that KC is out of it would be crazy. But I do know, and you know, that he really likes hanging out in New England. So I think New England is probably your front runner, and I think your stepchildren are Tennessee and possibly KC. But I wouldn't be surprised if KC comes out of the stepchild and becomes the child if they decide to move on that. So, but I would think that if that happens, they're going to have to.
I wouldn't count out Buffalo either.
But I would. I wouldn't count them out, but I got them as a distant runner. You know what I mean? Like it would. I don't know. I like them as a distant runner, but again, as we all have seen before, crazy things happen. So I'm not going to discount Buffalo. Honestly,
11 hours ago said the Bengals were interested in him.
Who?
Dalvin Cook.
Oh, and Cook.
And do you think that they're maybe looking at Dalvin Cook because Joe Mixon was having those issues?
I would be
legal issues.
I mean, maybe, probably.
I mean, Joe Mixon's been going through some stuff.
And one of the reasons I've said Buffalo is because I've heard reports that when the stuff was going on with son of a bitch Diggs, with Stephon Diggs and the Bills last week, where Diggs wasn't there for the one day of the training camp, and that they said then all that I'm talking about, and all that stuff was going on. I've heard that some of that had to do with, I guess he took a little bit of a pay cut or whatever, because he was told that they were going to try to get Hopkins or somebody, and he was mad because they hadn't made no move. So that's another reason I think that you could see him maybe end up there if that was their plan. And then, so I don't know, you never know, but it always seems like the teams that already are pretty rich at positions are the ones that end up with them kind of players. So that's why I wouldn't.
No, you're right. But I do but I do think the list of teams Hopkins has to choose from is going to be far greater than I think what Dalvin Cook has to draw from. You know?
Yeah. Because wide receivers are valued more than running backs.
Oh yeah, well that and there's not a whole lot of wide receivers out there. Even though maybe Hopkins has kind of taken a step back from where he was when he played with the Texans, he's still a primary valuable target, and so a lot of people need that. And so especially guys like Mahomes, who maybe Kelsey, can't always be your number one. You do need that solid number two. And unless you think Kadarius Toney is your number two, which I don't think he is. I think Kadarius Toney just makes some really good spot-on plays. You still kind of do need a primary wideout to take the pressure off of Kelsey. So I do think that, he could fit really nice in Kansas City if they decide to pull that trigger.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. Let's go ahead and get the final thoughts for tonight.
Oh, shit, I thought we was in final thoughts. Oh, damn. Okay, I guess we got more thoughts. I done gave all my thoughts. How many more thoughts do you think this old bastard has in him?
Hey, who knows with you?
That's true, man. Hey, that's what she said last night. No. And of course, Jason said, I didn't take my pill, so leave me alone, go away. No. On a serious note, man, again, hey, my final thought is, number one, great baseball today. Congratulations again to the Reds. They extended that win streak to 12. Great things are happening in the league as a whole. I think this baseball season has gone so many directions that I didn't see it going in, that it's amazing to watch. Again, I want to say, don't forget, check out Unscripted tomorrow at 1 p.m. We'll be going over some draft recap as well as some college World Series recap, and talking more about, the Florida and LSU matchup and things of that nature, man. So check us out tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern on Unscripted, man. Other than that, man, I do want to say again, one more time, Mike Hughes, Rob Scott, congratulations. Really outstanding interview with a legendary person in Ice Cube, man. I thought you guys did well. And I look forward to seeing what ASAP does from here and what you guys do from here, man. And much love to Gonzo and Tony for what they're doing with Gonzo's Sports Room and stuff on that side of the world. So, hell yeah. And Gonzo, when you go to your wrestling shows Saturday and Sunday, you better have your ass back on the afternoon show at 1. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to hear this. Oh, God, Jay, I feel bad. I can't feel my feet. Well, you have to feel your feet. Can you speak in a microphone?
I might be there. Monday. We'll see.
Hey, all I can think about is that one dude on Billy Madison. I think it was either Billy Madison. No, it was. I think maybe it was. It's the one that had the water. Remember that episode from the Water Boy? Well, wake his ass up.
Yeah.
Totally be like, yo, Jay, Gonzo's sleeping. He didn't feel too good. well, wake his ass up.
No, we do got busy week, though, but that's all you got. You got anything?
Go Reds.
Yeah, hopefully we can win tomorrow. Then we're guaranteed to win the series, and then I mean, that's.
Well, I do have one last thing. I never support a team that calls himself the Reds because I always think of Russian and communism. I'm American. Go blue.
Hey, fuck America. I'm Mexican.
No, sir. No, sir. You're Mexican American.
That's true. I can't even speak Spanish. What the hell?
You can't even order at Taco Bell. Shut up. I just told you yesterday what a chalupa was.
Hey, I had Taco Bell yesterday.
But
did you have the Diablo sauce? That's the question.
yeah,
Yes, I did.
actually, I had some Diablo sauce last night.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I will be done. I tried the Diablo sauce. I didn't get it. I was like, I don't know. I don't really get this Diablo sauce crap. Just give me back the fire that has me on the restroom for 5 hours. Give me that fire sauce.
It's just a little bit spicier than the fire.
Hey, listen, all I know is look, Taco Bell, if you can hear the sound of my voice, I firmly believe that with every order over $5 and anybody that orders the fire sauce with their order should get a free roll of toilet paper. Okay, I'm done.
Billy says, hell yeah, wrestling Saturday, Gonzo Sports. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. Jose, can you see?
Hey, I always wondered, is Jose blind? Why do we keep asking him if he can see? Does anybody know the answer to that? That's a trivia question. Does Jose really know how to see?
Join us tomorrow. Like it was just mentioned, 3:30 p.m. Eastern and 7:30 p.m. Eastern will be live pro wrestling from the Hancock County Fair. Summit Pro Wrestling. Elephant Ears and Elbow Drops is the name of the shows. Yep. There's going to be 2 shows, 3:30, 7:30. YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at Gonzo's Sports Room and at the All Sports All Plays Network. And then on Sunday, we have Warrior Pro Wrestling 21. That'll be at 3:00 on Sunday. YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can find that on ASAP Sports Network and at Gonzo Sports Room as well, Saturday and Sunday. So join us for both those, and then there was something else I was going to say, and I forget now. Oh, Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, G.S.R. Gonzo's Wrestling Room. Join us for that as well, and then we'll be back. And then of course Monday morning we got the baseball show, 9 a.m. afternoon show.
You doing that with Damien?
Yeah. at 1 p.m. Eastern afternoon show, 3 p.m. Eastern Easy Money, a sports betting show. So we got full slate. Yeah, Jay.
Also, please, if we can note, if you would like to sponsor Tony's Booster Seat and have your name printed on it, please send us a mail order, Cash App, Venmo of $30, and you too can have your name on Tony's seat.
My ass.
Frankie said, "Go get me to wear the mask." I've ordered at one of the wrestling shows before.
No, he wants to see Tony wear the mask. Tony, we want you to wear the mask. Tony, let me ask Gonzo. Can I say Monday? Or no, yeah, because we do a late show Monday night. Monday night, Tony, can you wear the mask?
That mask is hot.
I'll tell you what. If the Reds sweep the Braves, I'll wear the mask.
Okay, and I want to put a caveat on that. If the Reds sweep the Braves, I want you in the mask for the entire show.
That's an hour and a half, man.
Hey, how bad you want it? How bad you want it, though? How bad you want it?
I want it bad, but I don't know if I want it.
Okay, no, you will do it, Tony. Pussycat.
Pussycat. I am a pussycat. I might commit to 30 minutes. I don't know about an hour and a half.
Hey, that thing is hot.
Hey, listen, you commit to 30 minutes like Jonathan Mathis commits to a Modelo, okay?
Yeah, but no, Frankie, I've worn a one wrestling show. I will wear it again, but I'm not going to wear it tomorrow because we're going to be outside and it'll be like 90 degrees out.
Oh my God! No, tell me you didn't just say 90. I'm in 116. Shut your fucking mouth.
Hey,
I'm at 116. Gonzo, I went outside yesterday, and within 3 minutes, I had a sunburn. No, Gonzo, listen. In 3 minutes of being outside, I had a sunburn, a heat stroke. I jumped in the pool to cool off, and I got a 3rd-degree burn. I don't know what you're talking about over there with 90 degrees.
I've been out. Hey, I've been in 116-degree weather. Believe me.
I bet you have. Panama Red.
Yeah, Billy Bells. Marcus won't be with us Saturday. Yeah. He's going to be at prior commitments on Saturday and Sunday too. He won't be with us this weekend.
But he'll
be back soon.
But I will. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Marcus won't be with us this weekend.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Chris, do you want to accept that? That's winning the series. I think you should honor that.
The Reds, sweep the Braves. Tony, where if the Reds went 2 out of 3, Chris wins.
Yeah, I think that's. Hey, look, that's admirable. I think that's amicable.
If we win the series, Chris wears it.
I'll do it.
If we sweep, I wear it. 30 minutes. I ain't committing no home shot.
Okay, no, you know what, man? Because you guys are so pussified, that's fine. I think that's perfectly okay. 30 minutes, and we'll start the timer. And when it goes off, you can take the mask off and go back to whatever daily life you have.
I'm almost 60 years old. I can admit I'm a pussy. I'm not like these young dudes who are pussies and can't admit to it because they want to try to be macho. The hell with them.
Oh! You know what I say? I am what I eat, man. Sometimes with the fork.
I'm not gonna say about them young guys. I know what they eat, and I ain't gonna say it.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, and with that, Gonzo.
We appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back Monday night with another episode of G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room. Join us for some live pro wrestling this weekend.
Off the rails.
Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great night.